Let's go. Come on. Let's do it.
Rolling on the road
With the doc,
rolling on the road,
with Dave,
rolling on the road.
with the doc.
100 states of the possibilities with Dave and Dr. Burton.
All right. That was cool. Yeah. Hey, let's go. That was nice.
Good afternoon, and you are rolling with the Doc and Dave. Dave is gone glamping. You know, he had to go and check out the eclipse, so we'll probably hear about that all next week. Yay! Yeah. And if you are watching on GRTV 25, today is Tuesday, and it is April 9th. Can you believe it? We are now in the month of April. We are less than 1 month away from having been on air 4 years. We started way back in the middle of that thing they call a pandemic. Oh my gosh, can you believe it? 4 years. I am your host, Dr. Kimberly, and you know I have on my signature color, the purple with black with matching glasses and of course matching accessories. And you know, yes, friends and neighbors, we've got the eyelashes with the color coordinated glitter on them. And I am so excited today to have Mr. Scott. Say your last name for me.
De Verona.
Oh, that's so fancy. Yes. And we know in Spanish, day means of. And you're
Yep.
of what?
So it's actually named after an area of Spain called Verona, which most people are familiar with the Italian version, but mine is Varona. So my family is from Verona in Spain.
Oh, okay. Well, so today we are traveling to Spain by way of Lansing. Y'all know how that goes. And we're excited because he is the director of the MiALBLE accounts. Well, in Michigan, they're called My for Michigan Able. And as you can see, scrolling along the bottom, those are every state that has an ABLE account. So we're excited today. We have a lot of information for you. And so I'm going to, there we go, bring up the slides so we can start the presentation about what a MiALBLE account is. Scott, take her away.
Well, thank you very much, Dr. Kimberly. I appreciate the opportunity to speak to your audience and to provide information about the Michigan ABLE program. Before I start, I always like to recommend, if there are individuals who are from other states who are interested in the ABLE program, please check your state's program. Because some of the rules are a little different from state to state. And I'm going to talk about that a little bit more as well. The other thing that I want to mention to your audience is that all of the information that I'm going to go over is contained in our 100 plus page program disclosure statement. I'm not going to go over each individual page, but the bottom line is all of the legal information and all the documentation that you need for this program is available on our website, which is MiABLE, MiABLE.org. And feel free, if any of the information that you have, including the slides that I'm presenting, including the prospectuses and the finances, are all available on our website so that you can see exactly what I've been talking about. So one of the reasons that Dr. Kimberly invited me here today is to talk about individuals with disabilities and how an ABLE account can help them assist with their finances. So for far too long, individuals with disabilities have been told to stay broke. In order for them to qualify for the programs that they need to stay under a certain asset threshold. And for most federal and state programs, that asset threshold is $2,000. Now, I don't know about you, but trying to live on $2,000 is not possible anymore. That $2,000 asset threshold has been around for generations. And, you know,
I could spend that on press-on nails. I mean, I'm just
thank
saying.
you. Exactly. So it's impossible to live off $2,000. So the good news is the government recognized that and said, yeah, it's really not feasible and it's not sustainable to tell people to live off $2,000 a year. And it's really not sustainable to tell people, well, if you've got more than $2,000, you've got to either hide it or spend it frivolously so that you can get below that asset threshold. It just doesn't make sense. And for far too long, people have said this just doesn't work. So what they did was they created the ABLE program. So in 2014, the federal government passed the Federal ABLE Act that allows individuals and families to have a place to put money, a place to put their money for their long-term savings for their disability-related expenses. So it's a great way for people to save, to invest, and also to spend their money on what they need. So before I get into the ins and the outs, and before I get into all the program rules, the one thing I want to mention is this is a place to put money. This is not going to increase someone's money. This is not a way to generate income or anything like that. This is a place to put money that you have generated, either through your work, or if you have a business, or if you receive donations or gifts from family, from friends, from strangers. This is a place to put that money.
And this money is separate than having a trust?
That is correct. It is outside a trust as well. And I do talk a little bit about how an ABLE account and a trust can work together, because I talk to a lot of families that say, I already have a special needs trust, so I don't need an ABLE account, right? And the answer that I tell people is it depends, because a trust can be used for a lot of great purposes. A trust can be used for things like houses and property. But a trust account can't be used as easily as an ABLE account can be used, for instance, to get money out of the account. You don't have to go to your trustee. You don't have to go to any of that stuff. So a trust account and an ABLE account can work together. So as I mentioned, everything I'm going to go over is available on our website. It's myable.org. If you have any questions, you can email me. My email address is myable@michigan.gov. And I do have a slide at the end that has this information as well. So again, the intent of this is to have a place for individuals with disabilities to put money for their disability-related expenses without jeopardizing their eligibility for any of the programs that they utilize because of their disability. So with that, let's get started. So first and foremost, what are the rules? And the rules that I'm going over right now are the same whether you open an account in Massachusetts or Missouri or Nevada or Tennessee or Texas. The rules for ABLE accounts are the rules for ABLE accounts. So first and foremost, you're limited to one account, which means if you have an account open in another state and you decide to open an ABLE account in Michigan, you need to transfer that money. You can't have more than one ABLE account open. The account is owned by the person with the disability. The money belongs to that person. Doesn't matter if mom and dad fund it, or if grandma and grandpa fund it, or if the money comes from the person's own wages. The money belongs to the person with the disability. It's their money. Now,
okay, so they don't have to have a guardian or trustee or somebody to manage it.
Absolutely not. You do not have to have a person administer this account on your behalf. If you have legal capacity and you are an adult, you can manage your account on your own. Now, obviously, we have people.
We want to say thank you to Ernie Espinoza for tuning in, and we want to say thank you to Maddie Lopez, who's tuning in. She is in Arkansas, and Maddie has had some of these questions about being married and having the money. So Maddie, thank you so much for tuning in, because we've talked about the ABLE account separately, but now you can hear, and your state is one that allows you to have a MiALBLE account.
Absolutely. So as I was saying, because there are people in the disability community who are more than capable of handling their finances. They have bank accounts, they have investment accounts, they have all those types of things. We allow individuals with disabilities to manage their own account, to administer their own account, to fund their own account. But we also have people who are either incapable or do not want to handle their finances. So for those reasons, we do allow what's called authorized legal representatives to act on behalf of that person with a disability. And that person can be a parent, a sibling, a spouse, a court-appointed guardian, a conservator, or a Social Security designated representative payee. Basically, anybody who helps an individual with a disability can be an authorized legal representative and can open and help and maintain those accounts on behalf of those individuals. The great thing and the most important aspect of this program is that Medicaid eligibility is not impacted by assets in an ABLE account. So you no longer have to worry about that $2,000 asset threshold. You no longer have to worry about taking money out of your bank account and putting it under a mattress or giving it away to someone to shelter. You can keep that money in your ABLE account and keep your assets under your control. Now, Medicaid is entitled to claw back any money that's left in the account when the account owner passes away. Now, I know that scares a lot of people. People don't want to contribute to an account where Medicaid can claw back. However, Michigan Medicaid has never made a claim to an account when a beneficiary has passed away. So people ask me, well, what happens when a beneficiary does pass away? In those cases, obviously, we've had individuals who have passed away. In those cases, the account becomes just like any other financial asset, just like a bank account, just like an investment account. The money goes to that person's heirs. If the person had a will, we follow the will. If the person's estate goes through probate, we follow what the judge says. The judge says, give it to Aunt Susie. It goes to Aunt Susie. Like I said, I know a number of people are worried about the Medicaid clawback, but again, it has never happened in Michigan, nor have we had any discussions in order to establish systematic clawback. Quite frankly, my personal belief is that it is politically unpalatable to have Medicaid claw back this money for these individuals. I highly doubt it will happen. There have been a number of states who have proposed legislation to eliminate or at least reduce the clawback provision. And if that were to happen, I would be the fiercest advocate for Michigan to do the same. Because quite frankly, it's the number one reason why people don't participate in this program is because of that clawback provision. Assets over $100,000 do count as a resource for SSI, which means once you get to that $100,000 asset threshold, once you have $100,000 in your account, they will reduce or eliminate your SSI monthly benefit check. So if you're worried about that and you're worried about losing that monthly benefit, just start using the money. Don't have more than $100,000 in your account and you won't have to worry about that. So who's eligible to open an ABLE account? Anyone who became disabled prior to age 26. Does not matter how old you are now. It matters how old you were when you became disabled. So if you have an individual who was born with a disability and they're in their 80s now, they can open an account. Doesn't matter how old you are now, matters how old you were when you became disabled. With one of the following other conditions. You must be eligible to receive SSI or SSDI because of that disability. You don't need to be receiving benefits. You just need to be eligible for them. Or you could have a condition listed on the Social Security Administration Compassionate Allowances list, which is a number of different syndromes and conditions that a person might have that allows you to have an ABLE account. And if neither of those first two conditions apply, if you can get a doctor to certify that you have a disabling condition, you can open an ABLE account. Now, I mentioned at the beginning that you must be disabled before age 26. And a lot of people say, well, why age 26? What's the magic number in age 26? And I can't give you a really good answer as to why they limited it to age 26. Let's face it, the intent of this was to help individuals with disabilities. That's it. But because Congress operates the way Congress operates, they decided to put a limit on this. And they said, we're only going to let people who become disabled before age 26 participate in this program. And we said, okay, if that's the rule you're going to set, that's the rule we're going to abide by. And a bunch of people said, oh, wait a minute, that doesn't include everybody with a disability. For instance, people who develop multiple sclerosis or ALS, Lou Gehrig's disease, or any of the other conditions that happen later in life. People who have an accident and have a traumatic brain injury or a spinal cord injury and become paralyzed. If that happens after age 26, I can't help you with this program right now. But luckily, Congress has decided that, you know what, it doesn't make sense to limit this just to people who become disabled before age 26. So they are raising the age range. The age range is going to 46, but not until the year 2026. So again, you may ask, why the age range of 46? I can't give you an answer to that either. It seems arbitrary to me, but that's the rule that they set. So in a little more than a year and a half, anyone who became disabled before age 46 will be able to participate in this program. So the good news is they are continuing to expand this program. They haven't done anything at all to contract it or to limit it. They are seeing the benefits to this program. They are seeing that people are using this program. People are saving money. People are investing their money, and people are spending their money on their disability-related expenses and keeping eligibility for the programs that they need. So the good news is the program is growing. The bad news is I got to wait a year and a half, give or take, before my eligibility expands. Yes.
I said, oh, that's sad. But
it
right
is.
now, it's 16 minutes after the hour of 4. If you're watching on GRTV 25, it is Tuesday, April 9th, and we have with us Scott, who is with the MiALBLE account, and we are learning how to invest, save, and spend money as a person with a disability. If you are not in the state of Michigan, at the bottom, it is scrolling that tells you every single state that allows you to have an ABLE account. And our guest, Scott, is a white male with a very nice haircut. He's attractive. He is wearing a blue shirt with a white logo that says MiALBLE. And you guys already know that I am Cocoa Brown with no hair. And yes, I do have on my lashes with the glitter to match my outfit. That is a shade of purple, my signature color. And I have the press-on nails to match in a shade of purple. And so now we're going to start talking about the annual contributions.
Yes, one of the rules that the IRS set forth when they created this program was to limit the amount of money that people can put into this account. The amount of money that can put into ABLE accounts is the federal gift tax limit, which does change which can change from year to year. The IRS sets the limit each year. And for 2024, that annual contribution is $18,000. So anyone who opens an ABLE account can contribute up to $18,000 in their account that they can use for their expenses. However, because we have individuals with disabilities who are employed and who have income, but may not have access to a retirement account or any other type of long-term savings program, they allow special contributions in addition to those $18,000. So for 2024, a person living in Michigan who has income can contribute an additional $14,580 into their ABLE account. So theoretically, a person in Michigan could shelter, save, invest, and spend up to $32,580 in their ABLE account for 2024. So the good news is you no longer have to worry about that $2,000 asset threshold. If you can save $32,000, you can use that $32,000 on what you need it for. Now, we have a number of families who start saving for educational expenses when a child is young. You know I started my 529 education programs for my children when they were toddlers, 2 and 3 years old. I started saving for college because Lord knows college is expensive. But unfortunately, a number of people start saving in those education programs, and then they realize that their child has a disability or a learning defect that may prevent them from going to higher education. And And they wanted to give people a way to move money from education savings account into an ABLE savings account. So they
We got to
do
stop.
allow.
We got to stop you right there. I got to
Sure.
stop you right there. I know they're going to catch it, but he didn't mean to say that your child has a defect.
Yep.
We
Yes.
we apologize.
Yeah, apologize for the poor phrasing.
But if you find out by the time that your child turns 4 or 5 and they're ready to go to kindergarten and they have ADHD, or if they have autism, and you realize that they may not go to college, then this is a great time to change over your 529 into an ABLE account.
Absolutely. Rollovers from those 529 education accounts are allowed. They are still subject to the annual maximum, which means you could only roll over $18,000 unless they are employed. But the one thing that I want to mention is that rollover provision does expire. The IRS will not allow that to happen after the year 2025. So if you are in that situation and you have money in an education account and you want it to be rolled into a 529 ABLE account, you need to do that before 2025, unless, of course, Congress extends that rule post 2025.
Do you know? So you said in 2025, like
yes,
January?
Yeah, through the end of 2025, you have to transfer that.
Okay.
So we've talked about who's eligible. We've talked about how much money you can put in the account. We've talked about how you can transfer money from your 529. The one thing we haven't talked about is what can you use the money for?
Yes.
When Congress was debating this legislation, one of the advocates for this program was asked the very direct question, do you want this to be able to pay for everything? And the person was very honest. Yes, because the needs of a person with Down syndrome are different than the needs from a person with autism, are different from the needs of a person with mobility issues, are different from the needs of a person who's blind or hard of hearing. So trying to come up with a comprehensive list of all the possible things that a person with a disability needed to spend money on was impossible. So what they did is they came up with categories. And they said, well, just like you can use your 529 education account to pay for educational expenses, you can use your ABLE account to pay for those things too. So tuition, books, fees, computers, room and board, anything that you need to pay for to go to college or to higher education, or even secondary education, or even education in grammar school or kindergarten or pre-K. You can pay for those educational expenses out of that person's ABLE account. You can pay for housing expenses, rent, mortgage, utilities, garbage removal service, internet service fees, furnishing a home, making modifications to a home to allow for accessibility. You can pay for those things out of your ABLE account. You can even pay for your basic living expenses, things like groceries, things like toiletries, anything that a person needs to live their daily life, you can pay for basic living expenses out of your ABLE account. One of the reasons that individuals with disabilities are either unemployed or underemployed is a lack of transportation. It can be very difficult to move a person with a disability from one place to another, which is one reason why transportation expenses are allowed from an ABLE account. And I know a lot of people think transportation expenses, oh, you mean gas for the car? No. I mean, you can buy a car with your ABLE account. You can buy a bus pass. You can pay for an Uber. I have a client who lives on Mackinac Island, and he has to take the Shepler's Ferry back and forth to St. Ignace, and he uses his ABLE account to pay for those ferry costs. The bottom line is any form of transportation can be paid for out of an ABLE account. The other example that they use in the IRS legislation is assistive technology. There are lots of kids with autism that use their iPhones and the services associated with their iPhones to make sure that they stay on schedule with their meds, to make sure that they get from home and school, to make sure that they have voice recognition on their phones. Any of those assistive technologies, iPads, e-readers that a person needs, they can use their ABLE account to pay for. You can use it to pay for any form of healthcare. So if you need to go to the doctor's office, or you need to pay for diagnostic testing or lab testing or x-rays or blood work, you can pay for all of those fees out of your ABLE account. If you need the services of a professional, like a certified public accountant or an attorney or any other professional, you can pay for those services out of your ABLE account. And you no longer have to pay for prepaid end-of-life expenses. You don't have to prepay for your funeral, your cremation, or any of those costs. You can pay for those after the beneficiary passes away. You don't have to put that money up front. So one of the questions.
Can I get a massage?
Can you get what?
Can I get a massage?
Absolutely. That's a basic living expense.
It's like, oh, that's basic living?
That's a basic living expense. Absolutely. And that's the great thing is, because I can't tell you, Dr. Kimberly, what your living expenses are, just like you can't tell me what my living expenses are. So what you need for your basic living expenses is what you need for your basic living expenses. The question I get quite often when I display this screen and when I talk to people out in the community about qualified disability expenses is, can I use this to take a vacation? Can I go on vacation and use my ABLE account?
That's underneath health and wellness.
Absolutely. You are absolutely right. I mean, we're here in Michigan, and it's a beautiful sunny day in Michigan right now. But a lot of people, when they go on vacation, they want to get the heck out of Michigan. They want to go to Florida. They want to go to Orlando. They want to go to Hawaii. They want to go to someplace where the weather's always nice, right? Well, getting there is a transportation expense. Like I said, I don't care whether you fly there, take a helicopter or a blimp, doesn't matter. That's a transportation expense. And that's an allowable expense out of an ABLE account. And when you get there, you've got to stay somewhere, whether that's an Airbnb or a hotel or a condo or Aunt Susie's house.
Oh, that sounds like housing.
That's exactly what it is. It's a housing expense.
Maddie has a question.
Yes.
Here we go.
Maddie's question, can I give it to caregivers? Yes. If you have to pay for the services of a caregiver to give activities of everyday living, to pay for someone to help cook, clean, bathe, absolutely, you can pay for those services out of your ABLE account. And if you have to take a caregiver with you when you go on that trip to Hawaii, you can pay for them as well out of that ABLE account. So that's a great question. Thanks, Maddie. The other question that I get is, so I've got a list of all the things that are allowed, right? And somebody will inevitably ask me, okay, Scott, what's not allowed? And I can't give you an answer for that because the IRS and the Social Security Administration haven't said that is disallowed. So my advice and what I tell my clients is, if what you're spending money on falls neatly on this list, that's education, that's housing, that's transportation, that's health and wellness, you are absolutely 100%, you will not have to worry about paying for that item out of your ABLE account. If you have any questions about whether a particular item is a qualified disability expense, then my advice is don't use your ABLE account to pay for that. Then you don't have to worry about it. Use other money to pay for it. But if it falls onto this list, by all means, absolutely use your ABLE account to pay for those services and products. All right. Some of the other benefits to ABLE accounts. We've talked from the very beginning. The intent of this program is to make sure that people keep their benefits. It's hard enough to qualify for benefits in some situations. So we don't want people to lose their benefits because they got too much money. Here's a place to put your money so that you don't lose those benefits. Second part, individual ownership. You get to decide what your money does, how much you save, how much you spend, how much you invest, and how you invest. You get to make those decisions in your ABLE account. State of Michigan, and this is where we vary a little bit from different states. So again, if you're thinking about investing in a different state's program, make sure you check that state's program for their rules. But in the state of Michigan, we offer an income tax deduction on your Michigan income tax return. So an individual filer, if you make a contribution of $5,000, you can deduct that $5,000 from your Michigan income tax return. And if you're a joint filer, you can deduct up to a $10,000 deduction on your Michigan income tax return. So it's a great way to encourage families to save money for individuals with disabilities. Because let's face it, for far too long, they've been told, hey, don't give that person money because they're in danger of losing their benefits if you give them too much money. You don't have to worry about that now. And you can give yourself an income tax deduction. When this program was created, the state of Michigan legislature also increased their limit for 529 aggregate contributions. The state of Michigan is not going to stop you from making contributions to your ABLE account until you reach $500,000. Now, again, at $18,000 a year, it's going to take you a long time to save $500,000, but still, you can shelter up to $500,000 in your ABLE account in the state of Michigan. I don't know the rules.
That's a $500,000.
Yep. I don't know the rules for Arkansas, Maddie, so I can't tell you what their income tax. I don't even know if Arkansas has a state income tax, so I really can't explain that to you. But if you go to Arkansas, just Google Arkansas ABLE account, I'm sure you'll be able to pull up their information. And how can you apply for it? I'm going to have to refer you to the Arkansas program for that. Oops, sorry. I want to go back to my, okay. In addition to our high aggregate limit, we also, our program is relatively inexpensive. It's less than $60 a year. And if you choose to receive electronic delivery of documents, it's even cheaper. We take all of our fees out of the money that you've contributed. I'm not going to send you a bill. You don't have to write me a check or anything like that. It's very easy. The money comes right out of the money that you've already invested so that you don't have to worry about making any payments to me or anything like that. Our Michigan ABLE program offers 6 different investment options. For those of you who are very aggressive, we have an aggressive option that is 90% in the stock market. So it fluctuates very much with the fluctuations of the stock market. For those of you that are more conservative, we have an investment option that's about 85% in high yield and bond type accounts, so that you have less risk and less exposure to the ups and downs of the stock market. And then we have some flavors in between where there are some bond and savings and stock options available within there. So we think that we have a pretty robust suite of options that are available to people so that you can invest the way that you want to invest. If you want to be aggressive, you can be. If you want to be conservative, you can be. And if you want to be somewhere in the middle, you can be somewhere in the middle. And you can choose among those options. You don't have to just choose 1 or 2. You could theoretically choose all 6. The other thing that we, as I mentioned earlier with Dr. Kimberly, is the MiALBLE account can be used in conjunction with a special needs trust. It's not a replacement for, it's not an instead of, it's not mutually exclusive. You can use them both together. So if you want to do some long-term savings in a special needs trust for things like property, you can do that. And you can still use your ABLE account to pay for your everyday services, your education, your transportation, your housing, things like that. Some of the special features that the MiALBLE program offers is we have a debit card. One of the questions that I get quite often is how easy is it for me to access money? Well, it's as easy as swiping your MasterCard. Makes it really easy to get money out, makes it really easy to purchase goods and services that are disability related. And you get a list of where your disability purchases have been made every quarter with your quarterly statements. So it's a great way to keep track of your spending. It's a great way to start initiating budgeting and to become more financially self-sufficient. Another cool feature that we have is a crowdfunding option. Everyone who opens an ABLE account gets a 6-digit alphanumeric code, and you can tell that alphanumeric code to anyone you want. And you can say, if you want to make a contribution to my account, here's how you do it. It's a great way for people to give gifts. Moms, dads, grandpas, grandmas, aunts, uncles, teachers, cousins, anybody who wants to help finance a person with a disability, you can give them that gift code and they can make a contribution to their ABLE account. So it's a great way to solicit crowdfunding for ABLE accounts. And again, I don't know about Arkansas in particular, but most ABLE accounts have some sort of feature like that as well. So,
okay,
with
so
that,
I have the website.
Yeah, go right ahead.
In Arkansas, it's called ARR Able, and it's www.arttreasury.gov. So there you go, Maddie.
Thank you, Maddie.
I'll leave it
Thank
up.
you.
I'll leave it up while he's talking for a
Sure.
few minutes.
So, as I mentioned from the very beginning, if you are interested in the Michigan program, you can enroll at www.miable.org. One thing I did not mention is that we have client service staff that's available Monday through Friday, 8 to 5. If you have any questions on enrollment, if you get stuck during enrollment, please contact them, 844-656-7225. While I'm talking about enrollment, I just want to give you a little bit of the flavor of some of the things that we're going to ask. If you are opening the account on behalf of someone else, be it a child or a sibling or even a parent, we're going to need a lot of demographic information. We're going to need names, addresses, dates of birth, social security numbers, email addresses. Basically the same type of financial information that you need to open a bank account, you're going to need to open an ABLE account as well. The account is being opened with the state of Michigan. We are a 529 certified program, which means that it's administered by an individual state. So you can't go into a bank or, contact E-Trade or any of those places or Fidelity or BlackRock or anything like that and say, I want to open an ABLE account. If you do, they're going to look at you like you're crazy because these products are new. These products they've been around less than 10 years. We opened our first account in 2016. And there are a lot of people that don't know about this program. One of the unfortunate things with this program is that there's not a lot of awareness out there. That's why I try to reach out to people like Dr. Kimberly, who already have an audience of people who listen to them, because my biggest problem is awareness. We figure that there are currently about 500,000 people in the state of Michigan, 500,000 people in the state of Michigan who are eligible for this program. And this program has been open since 2016. So we're coming up on 7-8 years now. And we've only opened 5,000 accounts. We're at 1% of the people in this state who are eligible for this program are participating in this program. My number one problem is awareness. The people who can utilize these accounts don't know about them. And that's something that I hope we can fix coming up soon. I'm hoping that the legislature will provide me some money that will help with my education and outreach and awareness. I'm also very proud to announce, now that it is April, one of the new things that we're doing in celebration of Financial Literacy Month, which is April, Able to Save Month, which is April, is we are matching a $100 contribution for any new ABLE account. So if you open an ABLE account in the month of April and you contribute $100, we will match that $100. It is limited to the first 200 people who open an account. But I'm really excited about the fact that we can double some people's money in the next 30 days. We have people that have an opportunity.
This is so exciting.
Yes, it is. It's a great opportunity for people.
This is so exciting because this is like the 9th day of April. And you heard it here first, rolling on the road, that if you guys give your $100, come on, we have more than 11,000 folks that are interacting, that are watching every single month. So, hey, come on, guys, let's get those numbers up. with the ABLE account, and we on our end will continue to push getting an ABLE account so that we can change how people view persons with disabilities. And if you are watching, it is 20 minutes until the hour. Can you believe it? It's 40 minutes already have gone by. We want to say thank you so much for tuning in. And if you are watching on GR TV 25, today is, yes, it is already April 9th, Tuesday, April 9th. So by the time that you see this, if you see this show and they happen to air it in May, please still find out if the 200 people have reached that number. But I'm going to tell you what, Scott and I are going to stay in touch. And every week, I'm going to tell you how many new accounts have been opened. And I'll let you know, hey, you are still eligible to have funds matched. One of the things that's really important that he talked about, that if in the next couple of years, hey, if you find that, before the age of 46, you were disabled and you can open up an account, please do so, because we're still going to be talking about it in 2026.
No doubt.
Because it is very important that that we all want to have a good quality of life, and that is one of, or I should say part of the mission of 100 Shades of Diversability, is to improve the quality of life for persons with diverse abilities legislatively, economically, through community partnership and education. And so economically, we're helping you by telling you about these ABLE accounts. But if you can show, or you have a doctor that can say, hey, you had this disability prior to the age of 26, you can go ahead and get your ABLE account started. And that's for anybody in the 50 states or of the states that are listed here. I believe this is almost all 50, if I am not mistaken. But if not, it's pretty doggone close to it. And I really do hope that you reach out. And if you need to get more information, just like we have Arkansas's website here, that you get yours. I already received phone calls on last week. Hey, I'm filing for disability. Can I get some help? Absolutely. And the first thing that I'm going to do is tell you, hey, in your state, you're able to get an ABLE account. So I need you to also, as you're filling out your paperwork, to do an ABLE account. I know that on Tuesdays, Shayna has occupational and physical therapy, and she would be here. She's one person that I have, well, one of many, but we've really walked this all the way through, is that she's an entrepreneur. So even if you have a business idea and you're wondering, can I do this because I don't want it to mess with my monies? Guess what? Now you know that you can go ahead and start that business, because that's where the money, Michigan are the numbers the same across the states, or is each state different?
Well, each state is different with their limits. So $18,000 is as much as you can put in any ABLE account, whether it's Arkansas or Texas, it doesn't matter.
That's not my call. I'm talking about the part if you're earning money. So the earning money in Michigan was $14,580.
Correct. And that's the same with all 48 lower states. Hawaii and Alaska have a little bit higher limit.
Okay, so if you want to start your own business, then that first $14,580 that you make, you can put it in your ABLE account.
Absolutely.
So you don't have to worry about that. Yay!
Exactly. So one other thing that I wanted to mention is, as Dr. Kimberly will attest, I am always looking for events. I'm always looking for disability advocacy organizations, parent groups, even financial planning groups. Anybody who might benefit from listening to me talk for 45 minutes about the ABLE program, please email me. My email address is myable@michigan.gov. I'm always willing to
you got some likes. I'm watching the little
I'm
lights.
Always willing to do virtual events. I travel throughout the state and actually throughout the United States talking about the ABLE program. So if you have events anywhere, if I'm available and I can make it, I'll be there. Because let's face it, we need this program.
Give us your email again.
Sure. MiALBLE@michigan.gov. MiABLE at Michigan, the full name spelled out, .gov, G-O-V. Because we've got to get the word out about this program. We need people to utilize this program. Like I said, in the state of Michigan, we've got about 5,000 accounts open, but we've already got $55 million in assets. So people are using this account. The people who are early adopters are utilizing these accounts, and they're doing a lot to save, to invest, and to spend the money the way that they need to because of their disability.
All right. There's his email.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
And he will respond back to you, and he will show up. Yeah. And if he can't come, he'll tell you that he can't come on that day, but he'll give you another.
Yeah, my calendar books up pretty quickly.
So we are grateful that we were able to get in on the second week of this wonderful month of April, which is the saving month. So we are right on schedule. And this is so exciting. Again, if you're watching this and they happen not to run it until May, hopefully we can get this aired within the same month, because we have so many shows. But anyway, they pick them up, but you'll see it on Monday, on Tuesday, and on Thursday. And again, if it even airs in May, we are going to keep up with the numbers. And if we're only at 150 people, I'm going to come back and I'm going to tell you, this is the date, this is the time. There's only 150 people. So there's still time for them to match your contribution of $100. They're going to match that $100, not 100,000, just $100.
Yeah,
praise God, if you got $100,000 to open up the account with. Yes. Yeah. But it is 100 that they'll add to your $100 when you open up your account. So how much money do you need to open up an account?
We can open an account with as little as $25. So we want the barrier to entry to be as low as possible. So $25 to open an account. You can invest that $25 any way you want. You can put it in your savings account, so you can use your ABLE account, your ABLE debit card. You can put it in any one of our 6 different investment options, and you can watch it. Luckily, for the last few months, it's been growing because the stock market has been going up. There were times a few months ago and a few years ago when the stock market was going down. But that's what's great about this program. If you want to, for lack of a better term, ride the wave of the stock market, you have the ability to do that, or you can just put it in the checking account and, take that little bit of interest. That's what's wonderful about this program. It works for everybody. People who want to play in the stocks, people who don't.
Well, can you divide your money up?
Yes. So theoretically, you could take that $25 contribution and put $5 in 5 different investments. You can do that also. Just depends on how you want to do your investing. It's a great opportunity to start, maybe dabbling in, I want some money in the aggressive, some money in the growth, some money in the conservative, and some money in the checking account. Just depends on how you want to do it. And that's what makes this program great, is it's flexible for everyone and for anyone's risk tolerance.
Ooh. So, for those who play the lotto, so those of you who like to play the lotto, you can put yours in the high risk, because that's considered.
Absolutely. That's
a scratch off ticket. Okay. So let's put this in, So high risk investment is a scratch off ticket. Oh, yes. So it's worth it. It's worth it. And even if, let's say, you're older, like myself and a few of my doctors are not around because they were probably 50 years old when they were seeing me anyway.
Sure.
And if they're not around, you can go to your current primary care provider and see, hey, you have to give a history of or medical history. And so you might be able to find out that you did have some issue that's listed in the Social Security. And believe me when I tell you that that list of considered disabilities with Social Security is extremely exhaustive.
It is.
It's extremely exhaustive.
The Social Security Administration Compassionate Allowances List, I mean, just as an example, it includes just about every cancer that you could think of, because they know that a cancer diagnosis can be disabling. So, but lots of other, especially those rare conditions, some of those rare diseases that are out there that are disabling, some of those congenital anomalies that unfortunately happen, are out there as well. If you have any questions or concerns, by all means, go to the Social Security Administration website. If you just go to their website and put in compassionate allowances, it'll pull up the list. And the other thing with that list is it's always changing. Things are being added to it all the time because, a new syndrome. Yeah.
Not even going as fancy and deep as those rarities. If you have chronic headaches, is on the list.
Yes.
And not even separate from migraines. Migraines are on there. If you have chronic headaches, it's on there.
Yeah, there's lots of different conditions on there.
So trust me, go, what this is springtime. This is a great time to go and get your physical before you get ready to go on vacations and go hang out and get your vaccinations. Go and take a look and see what you may have prior to the age of 26. And it doesn't take a whole lot to do. It's just a doctor's visit. And I believe they give you about 30 minutes, maybe 40 at the most. And by the time you walk out, you have more than enough to get your ABLE account started wherever you live. Again, they're listed all on scrolling on the bottom of the screen. Okay, here we got a question. It says,
okay. I don't know what you mean by the government will mess it up, but here's where I think you're going with this question, Maddie. You don't want to lose eligibility because once you combine families, once you get married, there's that aspect of limits to how much you can have. That shouldn't impact your ability to get married. The asset limit is the same. But I would check with your particular caseworker, depending on if you're talking about Medicaid eligibility or SSI eligibility, just to make sure. Again, it varies from state to state, but the bottom line is that this whole program was created so that people don't lose eligibility for the programs that they need. And that includes individuals who get married. We don't want people to lose eligibility for their programs because they got married, because they chose to take a spouse. So, like I said, I'm not an expert on eligibility. I'm an expert on ABLE accounts, but I'm not an expert on eligibility for the programs that you're talking about. So I would double check that, especially if you're not in the state of Michigan. But one thing I do want to mention that this actually reminded me of, just because you're not in the state of Michigan doesn't mean you can't participate in this program. Michigan is one of the states that's open. So if you live in Ohio and you like Michigan's program better, you can use Michigan's program. There are a couple of states that have what's called closed enrollment, like the state of Florida. In order to participate in Florida's program, you have to live in Florida. Michigan's program is open, so you can live anywhere and participate in Michigan's program. That's great for the handful of states. There are still some states that don't have an ABLE program. So we're one of those states that allow people who live in those states to participate in our ABLE program. But thank you for
we want to say thank you to Deborah Jordan for watching on today. We appreciate you tuning into the show. There is a list. So the list that I got here that shows all the states that participate, this same website will have all the states that are open where you don't have to live in that state in order to have an account. And I will pull that up now and I will post it.
Thank you.
List. Mm-hmm. And I think it says list of states that have ABLE accounts. All right, here it is. All right. So here is, how do I do this? Click here. And it's www.savingforcollege.com because it was the 529 account.
Yep.
So this has the list. So it's www.savingforcollege.com. Yep. /529 ABLE accounts. ABLE dash. Oh, wait a minute. No. That's in the wrong spot. Okay, wait a minute. I'm going to get this. www.savingforcollege.com /552. See, this is what happens when old people try to get stuff done. And I did it again. Why is it not? Okay, I had to cut the number thing. Y'all bear with me. Talk about something, Scott.
Well, all I can tell you is here in Lansing, Michigan, on April 9th at 5 o'clock, it is sunny. It is beautiful. It's like the eclipse never happened. It's absolutely gorgeous here. So I can't wait to get outside this afternoon.
There we go. I finally got it. Boom. Okay.
Very cool.
And then click this so that you can see it. Oh, that's for State House. Okay. How about Roll It on the Road? Or 100 Shades. Let's do 100 Shades. There we go. All right. So when you click on www.savingforcollege.com /529 ABLE accounts, it is so nice because it tells you all about the program. And then when you scroll down, it'll tell you the state residency requirements, if there's a state state tax deduction. And then it lights up, as you can, well, let's see, can you see that? I don't know. Then it lights up where you can click on that state and get all the information. So when it says Alabama, it says plan name. The plan name is called Alabama ABLE. And are you required to be a resident there? Nope. Is there a state tax deduction? It left it blank. So if you go down here to, where are we? LM, Michigan. So if you go to Michigan, Ours says state, Michigan. It says plan name, MiALBLE. It says resident requirement. It says no. And then it says, is there a state tax deduction? And it says contributions to a plan account are deductible. So it shows you that 5,000 and 10,000.
Yep.
So everything is there, and it's there for every single state.
Very cool.
So yay, we learned something today. We got some really great information. And for all of you who are not in the state of Michigan and would like to apply for an account here, you get if you're one of the first 200 people and you put $100 in,
I'll give you $100.
You get $100. You get 100. You get 100. We're about to be like, okay. You get 100. You get 100. You get 100. So we're gonna Scott's gonna give us permission to use their logo next to Rolling on the Road and 100 Shades, and we're gonna keep it up. And we're gonna every week we're gonna have a number up of the 200 people. How many are the 200? If it's still at 0, I'm going to say shame, shame, shame on you.
I can do that.
But we can stay in contact, and we're going to put all our logos on there, and we're going to keep posting every single week. And again, Michigan is an open state. We are an open state. So if you want to open up an account here, $100. Don't buy that scratch off or play the get a MiALBLE. Now we're acting like what does that fan do? For the first $50 that you spend, we'll give you $100 back.
Exactly.
I don't know, something like that. However they do that. See, but that's investing, if you will. I am so excited that you came on today. And when we get off here, I'm going to create a little promo, and I'll send it over, and we'll start the countdown to those 200 people.
Sounds good.
And it goes until you have 200 people, correct?
Or April 30th.
And not just, just till April 30th?
Yep.
What if you don't get to 200 people?
We always do. It's not the first time we've done this. We've always reached our max. Okay.
He's so self-assured in this. We like that here.
Yep.
But we want to tell Scott, thank you so much for coming. And again, we're gonna $100, guys. $100 to get you. But you got to come up with the first 100, and they're going to match you. Now, is it going to be instant, or is it like 30 days from that day, like the bank? Or
we've got it. Number one, we've got to make sure that the account is opened correctly. We've got to make sure that the money has been deposited, and then usually within 2 weeks after the end of the month, we'll get that contribution added as well. Just depends.
Whoop, whoop.
Yep.
There we go, guys. So we want to say thank you so much for tuning in to Rolling on the Road. And what is so awesome is that on next week, we will be talking with Interim Healthcare. And guess what? So that $100 that you deposit, you can get that discounted if you have to pay in cash for care services. They are giving $100 discount or credit to your account if you say you've watched the show with Interim on there with Rolling on the Road. Yes, look at there. Just see, you get $100. You get $100. You get $100. This is the other version of Oprah, just the disabled side. But anyway, so we're giving away things here as well. So we look forward to seeing you guys on next week. Again, this is not a period, but a comma. You guys go out there and enjoy that sun wherever you, especially those who are in Michigan. All right. Thank you so much for tuning in today.
Until we meet again, thank you very much.